Do you see here? Hi guys and gals. I'm walking to work instead of walking back from work. So it's a little bit after 7 in the morning. Sun's not quite up yet. Still dark. Yeah. I was going over some research that I've been doing into family life in the 50s. It was, for me, quite interesting. I've talked about before how my grandparents, maybe we'll get more light later on, but how my grandparents were involved in something called a farm forum. They were incredibly involved, I found, in the social tissue of their village and county at the time. I find that something fascinating and at the same time sad. Why sad? Well, sad is because my grandfather passed away when I was a teenager. Grandmother passed away before. But I was, what age would I have been? Let me see. I was probably just around 16. Something like that. And it really is dark, isn't it? Well, you're going to have to believe that I'm here. And I've got the sniffles. It has nothing to do with someone else's sniffles. Excuse me. I was going over, like I was saying, some material. And the material that I found on the farm forum is that the farm forum is something from the, I think the 40s and the 50s. And it came from an agricultural college called McDonald College, which was part of McGill University, I believe. And they had regular Monday night broadcasts on the radio, on the CBC. Now, as you all know, there was no possibility those days to go and record it. You either listened to it, you missed it, or if you were a bit lucky, maybe you could get a transcript, I suppose. But that was about it. Now, these farm forums were part of actually a larger movement within this, I was going to say, this network of broadcasting, where farmers of a region would get around together at someone's home and they would watch. I didn't know this. I found out now that they would, amongst other things I swear that they did, but one of the main goals would get together on these Mondays to listen to the broadcast, and from there would be discussions that would be given. Instead of like the Wednesday evening Bible and prayer meeting, it was the Monday evening. I think it was from 8 to 8:30. So they had time to do their chores, or at least hurry and do their chores, and go off to some other farmer's place. And there they'd be the discussion groups. So I've already mentioned in a video not too long ago the type of discussions that they had. Of course, they were usually around, I was going to say, agricultural topics, but agricultural topics would bring you on to very often topics that would have to do with world events, especially just after a world war, or between wars, so to say, in a reconstruction period. So it was quite interesting to see that. I was going on a little bit further last time. We were talking about, the so-called, well, I didn't actually maybe use that word, but often we talk about the lack of sophistication of years ago. Let me see if I can go in front of this truck. Yep, he's letting me. Yeah, because if you think of farms, very often you think of farms as isolated houses, domains, or whatever you want to call them, separated by a lot of grounds. So very often, when people would live on a farm, their closest neighbor was quite a ways away. And yet, there was such a vibrant community life. And all around this social media, which was the radio. And I mean, it's like, movie night. If you have friends come over for a movie and pizza, something like that. I guess it's probably as close as I could get to, because these forums would always finish after the discussion period with a social time. It usually would be coffee and desserts, something like that. From what I can see, at least in the region where my grandparents were, at that period, temperance was still quite a big thing, and I have mentioned in other videos that they were part of temperance society and so on. So, goodness sakes, they would be wondering what happened to their offspring. Anyway, that is just one offshoot, but it is fascinating, and I've been going through archives of the Granby Leader Mail and regularly finding things about the Farm Forum, where my grandparents were, like I say, involved in chairman or secretary and stuff like that. But now, digging in a little bit further, finding that the social net was very much there. That is really interesting. Now, in today's world, I'm kind of wondering, maybe you can help me on that one, this just before the pre-internet period. So what I would call the dark ages before the internet. Were we more isolated? Because I find with the internet, we're going back to that, farm forum type of thing. A lot of us live far away. We're on our own islands, and yet we have this common denominator where we go in and tune in. The only difference is we can tune in to something whenever we want to. But then we get together and discuss. I'm thinking of different, for myself, it might be YouTube groups, a little bit on Facebook, but you know what I mean. I mean, we have this kind of discussion pattern that comes back. Before the internet actually came in force, do you feel we were more isolated? I mean, you really had to go out, but it was more difficult to create networks? I don't know. I kind of feel that might be the case, but I could be wrong. Anyway, let me think what you think about all this. It's an interesting topic. Are we creating our own, in inverted commas, farm forums? Of course, you can replace the word farm with something else, of course. But are we reinventing the wheel in a different way? I kind of think we are. Anyway, EC signing off, everybody. I have to go work. Bye-bye. Take care, everybody.